I am Cheri Hudson-Passy from Carolina Girl Genealogy, host of GenFriends, and we have a show for you. First, let me introduce our panel, our wonderful people that come every week and join me as we talk about all things genealogy and especially our favorite relative race. We have Melissa Barker, our archive lady. Hi, Melissa.
Hi, everybody. Glad to be here.
So glad you're here. Eowyn's here. Hey, Eowyn.
Hi, everybody.
Guys, Bernice Bennett is back with us tonight.
Hey. Hi, everybody.
We're so glad that Bernice, she's been on this book tour and we're so proud of her, but she's back. She's back because she loves relative race too. We've got Jenny Hawran. She's Hawran. Hawran. I always say her name wrong. Anyway, she's here and she is the author of Like Herding Cats, which is what I feel like.
I'm hurting.
Hi, everyone. All that tail, Mary.
Oh, see, I've already lost control. Anyway, thanks for being here, Jenny. I'm sorry I butchered your name again. She's even taught me how to say it. I still.
It's all good. It's all good.
Okay, I got it. It's because I got other people on here and they're making me nervous. All right, we've got Mary Roddy, and Mary's. You can find her at MKR Genealogy, but you can also find her on Applied Genealogy Institute, and so she's teaching classes on there as well. And we've also got Laura Hedgecock from Treasure Chest of Memories.
Hi.
So we've got quite the panel. Look who we have. It is the season 12 GenFriends team reunion. What? We have got at least a representative from each of the teams. And so we feel very blessed to have you here to come and talk to us about your journey and all the wonderful things. And we were telling them ahead of time how special it is for all of you to open up your lives to us, such personal experiences that you go through on the show, and how much you teach each of us as we watch and we cry and we connect and we cheer for each of you. So 2 weeks ago, when we recorded day 9, I said, if any of our viewers are out there watching and if they have any questions, put them in the chat on YouTube. And guess what people did? They put their questions in there. So I'm going to start with one, and then I know Bernice has got a question she wants to ask you. So we have a question that says, what was your favorite challenge and what was the hardest? Who would like to go first with that? Anybody?
I know for us, we really enjoyed the t-shirt launch.
Yeah.
with the word jumble at the end.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think the throwing plungers was really fun too. I mean, he didn't show it, but I was like in hysterics laughing so hard during that because it was so ridiculous to me and we were doing so bad at it. And I was like almost in tears. I said, I feel like we're on some sort of a skit or something, like this is all a joke. It was just the most bizarre thing ever. And then trying to explain these challenges to our parents when we got home, it was like these plungers, they were all pink silver, and we had to do a chain mail, and it was real chain mail. It was kind of heavy. We had to throw plungers at each other, but not at each other. We had to catch. It was really.
And of course, then we watched the final product, and Callie's like, thunk, thunk, done.
Yeah.
And we're making it sound so difficult.
Yeah.
Yes, but you had a good technique though. You started throwing it from the other end, and it was starting to work.
I noticed that it turned halfway when we throwing it, and so I was like, let's just throw it backwards and see what happens. And
see what happens. Well, if it's not working the right way, might as well do it backwards, right? Sounds like a good plan. Anybody else got a favorite challenge?
I think the favorite challenge for us was the Zork balls. And seeing each other fly across the room. Yeah. That was just really fun. And I think we dreaded the most the challenge with the I think it would probably have been the balls because the Velcro was so to the point where it was really hard to pull the balls off.
Yeah, it was hard to get those balls off the Velcro.
Oh,
and tiny all over the place. When we first, I think they cut it out. When we first started, all of her hair got stuck to all the Velcro.
Oh my
So I'm
gosh.
taking these pinballs off.
Well, you could tell from watching the show that it was hard pulling it off. It did.
Yeah, it was hard. I didn't like that one that much because I think we were really exhausted, like just with the skipping and the running and the pulling of the, getting it off, and then like we're in these heavy suits, and it's just I didn't like that one that. But then I did enjoy. I feel like I like the t-shirt cannon too because you never get to do that. When you get to
Who gets to shoot things at people, right? Yeah.
I think I thought that was really fun.
For us, the t-shirt cannon came down to the wire because we only had one t-shirt left and we kept missing. So I'm running back and forth like a good 20-something times. And on that last time, like I run it back and I got the t-shirt in my hand and I'm like literally like putting it in her chest, like don't.
Yeah, that was
I had nothing left. I was like, I cannot make it down this again. There's no way.
a lot of running. So.
Yeah.
Well, the most fun of that too was trying to guess at the end what the word was, because some of the guesses that we had were just ridiculous that they edited out.
That part.
Yeah, I really wish they'd show us some of those edited scenes.
Oh man.
No, they would make a great bloopers reel. It would be fantastic.
It would be. I really wish they'd show us those. Yeah, they could do a whole series on bloopers from all the different seasons.
Or just the random conversations we'd have with each other in the car, because you can't have the radio playing and you're driving for hours. And so I know for us, we had some really weird conversations. We had nothing to talk about. It was like filling the air.
Well, and you're tired too. I can imagine.
Exhausted.
Absolutely. Callie, what about you? Who's your friend? Who's your friend?
This is our youngest.
This is not Pat.
This is not Pat. No, this is not Pat. This is our youngest, Nash. She is 3. And boy, is he 3.
Well, we're glad you're here.
Yeah.
It's nice to meet you.
He came
What about
home.
the challenges?
From school today, and no, I was just gonna say he came home sick from school today, and now the other one, the older one, is down for the count. So I apologize if
No, you're fine.
So
what about the challenges for you? Did you have a favorite or?
For us, yeah, no, our least favorite, hands down, was the piñata. The piñata and that in St. Louis, we were like the whole course was set up against the wind. It was. So we were like trying to throw a lasso into 35-mile-per-hour winds.
Oh.
And it was like, so it was like, that was like the most frustrating. I know anytime that we've talked about like best challenges, worst challenges, that one for both of us always comes up for the first one. That was difficult. And then I think collectively, the balls. Me personally, I loved Dan Bummerham. Like I'm somebody, I forget my password all the time. So I am a whiz at like, where's those you have to figure out which pixels have a bicycle in it or whatever.
Yes.
Down to the last detail. So I was like, I got this. So that one was really, really fun for me. I enjoyed that one.
I don't think anybody else is agreeing with you on that one. So
no, it's okay.
No.
That was worse. We kept seeing the panel. We looked back. They're like, "Oh,
I think we did too great.
That's too funny. Now, Bernice, I know that you have a more serious question that you would like to ask.
Yes, I want everybody to go back to day one. When you all first met as a group and you had to sit down and look at everyone's story. What impact did that first meeting have on you?
I think for me personally, I know. I think for me personally, seeing everybody's story just made everybody more human. Not your competitor, not the person you're going up against. It made them another person on a journey who has went through what you went through, if not more. And it just I feel like it just solidified that bond because we already were in love with each other. the dinner we had before that. But as soon as we saw the story, I was like, you know, I'm ready for the premium package now.
It was. That was the day, bringing me back to that. I just remember the energy in that theater literally changed. Like it was like you. Of course, there were so many. Everybody had cameras and they're recording, and we have everybody there, and we're trying to make sure we're in place. But it was also when we all collectively went into the theater and we sat there. And then, of course, Dan is saying, what do you think you're going to see? And then we're like, oh, I think we're going to watch each other's stories on there. Yeah. But then once it started, the energy from us to the producers to whoever had a camera, it was silent. It was just, I mean, tears were flowing. The energy changed. And that was it. Like, we love each other.
Right. I think one thing that I wish they would have shown, though, was it looked like we all just like pulled it together and like pressed on. No, there was after the final story, like there was a good 20 minutes where like everyone was allowed to like mourn and grieve and express themselves, you know. I mean, yeah, actually I would say it was probably a good this is my life, y'all. This is my life.
We've all been there, don't worry.
I'm talking, I'm working, I'm momming so hard, all the things. The race never ends. No, it's probably a good minute or two where there was just silence and all you heard was people trying to pull themselves together, you know. Yeah. But yeah, it was like it took a good 15-20 minutes before we were able to all pull it together and press on.
And then they asked us questions about it, and so then we had to talk about it, and while we're looking at each other, and then it all started all over again. Then we were just crying all over again.
I just remember there was one moment where Giselle and I just kind of looked at each other and realized that we shared a lot of similar histories with each other as far as things that had happened to either our step parents or to our parents. And I don't know, for me, I don't know about the rest of you, but it's like for the first time in my entire life, I was like, oh, there are other people who actually understand a lot of the stuff that I've gone through in my life that I just didn't really think anybody else would ever understand.
Yeah.
No, this show you get really personal with each other really quickly, and I know it's called day one, but we obviously didn't fly in from our cities on that day, so we had already met the day previous, and we bonded really quickly. I mean, we ate all our meals together. We were hanging out together whenever we had time and stuff. We had a whole press day before where we had to take a bunch of pictures. We were hanging out and chatting the whole day, so you get really personal really quickly. But then seeing each other's backstories was even deeper, because this isn't stuff that you like meet some stranger on the street and you're like, hey, what my background is. You don't do that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
It got really, really personal then. But yeah, how much you and Giselle had in common, how much how much Patrick and I had in common. I also lost a daughter and started a nonprofit in her memory. And so we actually rode from the airport with Callie and Patrick, and we chatted the whole way. And then also Tiny, I mean, we like bonded like so quickly when we were just in the van from the airport and stuff. So I think getting to watch those backstories, it got even deeper personally. And it really I think it really solidified us all as family. Like it really did. I honestly believe we were all chosen for a reason for this season. Like these teams were chosen for this season because everybody on the show, all the producers and everything said they've never had this kind of bond between the contestants like they did with us. And we honestly, it's not fake. Like we still text each other all the time. When we get on the phone together, it's 3 hours of phone time, you know, like we became family.
Yeah, I think it's the most powerful day one of Relative Race ever. I really do feel that way. It was remarkable, and the tears started from that point, like you said, onward. Jenny, you have a question.
Yeah, I'm kind of always interested in behind the scenes too, but I was wondering, I mean, obviously you went on this journey, all of you, for a reason to find relatives, but what made you choose this way? What made you choose to go on the show and kind of go this journey? What was it like to audition? How did you hear about it?
I'll
I'll
let
go
somebody
first.
Okay.
go ahead.
I never had heard of the show. I had never heard of BYU TV. It
Not
my
surprising.
reality was scrolling through my Facebook feed, and bam, there was this ad. It was like, answer these 5 questions. So I was like, okay. And then within 24 hours, I had been contacted. And a couple days after that, I did my first phone interview and then went straight to the video. And it was really quick. It was kind of like those moments in your life where you're like, you definitely feel like a hand and like a driving force forward, like you're doing this. It was like you didn't really have a choice. It was just something behind you was just pushing, and everything was falling into place. And it was like right place, right time. But like cosmic, as far as I'm concerned, like it has always felt like we were just led the entire way here. Never in a million years did I think that I would go this route, nor would my brother ever do it, ever. And he was like, okay. Like it really did. I was shocked. And it just, everything was right place,
The right time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know for me, it was, I had tried to find family on my own and was really striking out in a lot of ways and just wasn't really able to get anything. The closest I came, actually, it's funny because Erin, who we met on day 2, my cousin, she had reached out to me on Ancestry, and she's like, oh yeah, just give me all of your information and I'll figure out your entire tree for you. And I'm like, I don't know who you are, so I don't really feel comfortable. But yeah, it just seemed like if I was ever going to find my family, I was going to have someone who had more experience and more knowledge of the process to do it than I had. So when I saw the ad, kind of like Kelly, I just like, let's see what this is about.
Right.
And for us, the process was a lot longer than the other teams. Don't know if we're actually supposed to say this, but we were actually a last minute addition. We don't know what happened to Team Green that they originally had cast. They talked about putting us on season 13. And then we actually didn't find out we were on the show until, what was it, 6 weeks before we left.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we found out, it was, we had, I think he had applied and stuff, didn't tell me a word about it. I had no idea. And then he got selected to then audition further. He was like, hey, do you want to do this? And he kind of said, I don't want to do it with anybody else, but do you want to try to do it? And I said, sure. So we started watching the show. But I think the whole process started, I want to say, about Halloween. And then we were told we were like one of 8 teams, finalist teams around Christmas time. But yeah, I think it was like 6 to 8 weeks before we left for the show that we found out we were on the show. Wow. So yeah, like our backstory that they filmed was like just maybe a month before we left.
Goodness. And yes, we've heard that happening to other teams before. I think everything just works out the way it's supposed to. The teams, just the seasons come together the way they're supposed to. So we're glad that you were part of this season. Giselle, what about you?
So my story is similar to Kelly's. I was scrolling on Instagram and saw it. First, I thought it was a joke. I'm just gonna be honest, because I had constantly been looking for family and finding these places that said they would help you, but it was like, okay, you need to pay $15,000. It's like, okay, no, yes. I'm not Rockefeller yet. So to get to this point, with the interviews and things like that, and just to know that it was real and to meet such wonderful people was amazing to me.
Tanisha and Mitchell, how did y'all?
Kind of the same thing. I've never heard of BYU TV, never even seen Most Race. Couldn't imagine that I've never heard of it, and it's been on for like so many seasons. And so when Mitchell was telling me about it, he was like, "Oh yeah, I applied for Relative Race." I was like, what is that? And he started telling me about it. Now I don't know anything about it, and he was like, "Yeah, you have to like travel by using a map, and they take your phone and they fly you out." And I was like, Okay.
Thought no, she thought that word, she thought they were gonna like sell it at work. She was
For a family.
and
So I did. I wanted to go on there as supportive as to him because he wanted to find his biological anybody that he knew. So of
Right.
course I looked at it and researched it. I mean, I was all in. I was like, of course, like we can do this. And then so we got the interview and they let us know that we were going to be on it. And I mean, I'm so glad we made the choice because it is literally a once in a lifetime opportunity. And
Absolutely.
a lot of-
Absolutely. Let me ask you one of these other questions that came from the viewers. Just says, does every team have a hashtag name? How did they get created? You may not want to share that, but so do you all have a hashtag name and how did they get created?
It was me.
We should have known.
Oh my gosh. I remember even in like the in like our group text or whatever, like just so everybody knows, you all have team hashtags as well as this is like our group one for the creatives. I was like, whether you want one or not, you have one. No, I'm a dirty nicknamer. I nickname everyone. Everybody. Like my new grandma Phyllis is GMAP. Like GMAP, like everybody, Debbie Fresh, like I do it with everybody. So yeah.
So what did you name everybody?
It was my green machines, my blue skidoos, or my blues clues, but blue skidoos, and then my red revs. Yes. And then and then we were the revs gave us the creatives, so then that became like the
that was
fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how it started. It was me. It was just like my horrible habit. I just love to nickname people.
I think that's really funny.
Like, yeah, I have our oldest son is Pim. He's Pimster. We've got Nash, who's the Nash potato.
Nash potato.
Don't be too shocked if before the show is done, each of you are going to have.
All right. Okay. That's a little scary.
Yeah.
That's a little scary.
I think officially from the show though, it's like hashtag RR, then color, team color, and then S12 or something like that. But nobody really uses those individually. So if you tried to look up the hashtag, it's going to be like 3 posts.
But someday you guys will thank me because you'll click on those hashtags and all of those posts will be together.
Yeah.
Someday, mark my words.
Good job.
We will remember. Thank you for doing that.
There's
a question for Giselle and Callie. It says, though you didn't meet parents, how did the relatives you did meet fill your heart? Oh, that's a sweet question. That came from a viewer.
Go ahead, G.
I'm processing, Cal. I'm processing.
There was just it just felt like buckets being filled and holes being filled. And that moment, there's no describing it. Still, like even after I lived it and then I watched it happening, I still can't describe it and do it justice. It just feels like a sponge expanding. And
I loved how you kept saying someone showed up.
I did too.
That's what I think all of us. Yes, someone showed up.
Yeah, my journey is really it was really different.
Right.
It was there was obviously definitely like a behind the scenes struggle back and forth about family members doing the show, and people had signed up, then pulled out, and it was kind of this ongoing battle. So when I was told it wasn't just that nobody wants to meet you. That was just that was strictly parental. But everyone else, it wasn't that they don't want to meet you. It was they can't right now. No, my husband's calling, so sorry. They can't. It's a difficult situation, and it was more so about getting them to do the show, to participate, not so much a meeting situation.
Right.
Not
everybody's comfortable with doing something like this on television,
Yeah, and yeah, absolutely. Like, and I totally understand that. So what we were told that I wouldn't be meeting at all. So it was and would I be okay and would I be comfortable, continuing on? And I'm like, well, of course, like worst sister of the year award goes to if I don't do this, so I don't get a mom and dad, you don't either, no Riken burgers for you, like, what, I can't do that would be horrible. So that was really just a shock. I mean, I was dealing with that internally behind the scenes the whole time, that at the end of the day, like, they couldn't get anyone to meet me. And another thing that they told me was that my family was huge. They told me my family was huge and that I had the most genetic matches that I've ever had. So I was like, not only do I have the most genetic matches, you can't find anyone that'll come on the show. Jeez Louise. Cows. It was just there was a lot of layers to that onion. So when I do truly say someone showed up, that's what I meant. Someone showed up.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Giselle, what about you?
So for me, it was like, your whole life, it's kind of like Annie. She dreamed of meeting her parents, right? She dreamed of meeting of them, and God had someone. He had someone in place, which was a daddy warbox that would be that person that would fill the gap of the mother and the father that she was missing. And so, upon hearing that, both of them had passed, my sister became that daddy warbucks. She became like that warm hug for me on my, dealing with my father. And then a mentor became that warm hug in dealing with my mom and her passing. And so it really, there was no room for me to sit and stay in that place of grieving, because the love that they showed me was so overwhelming. That it begins to feel, like you said, fill those holes, fill those gaps, and even answer the questions that I wanted to ask them. They had the answers, and so I was really grateful for both of them. Very strong women.
Right, getting those answers. Yeah, that's what it's about. It's getting those getting those answers, knowing who you are,
where you come from. Yeah.
Cheri, I have a question.
Go ahead. Yes, I was just going to say Laura's got one next, but I was just going to say we have Taquita here.
Yeah.
Welcome.
There she is.
There she is. Welcome. We're so glad that you were able to join us. Laura was just getting ready to ask a question. Go ahead, Laura.
Yeah, for all of you. So I was wondering, so inevitably everybody's story, there's a lot of film that ends up on the cutting room floor, or some things that happen off camera. So I was wondering what part of your story happened that way off camera or got cut that you wish you could share with people? Your relative race story.
Good question, Laura.
The one for us was day
6 or 7.
4? No, it was, I don't know. Yeah, so I can look at my notes.
I don't know how you keep the day straight anyway.
we met cousin Lyle one day, and cousin Lyle drives the school bus in the morning, so he couldn't spend the night with us. So he had to, because he had to be at work in the morning. But we woke up that morning to his brother,
Roger, who showed up, and he and his wife had made this beautiful breakfast for us. We had this great quick it wasn't as long as we'd like, but it was a nice conversation. And they're like, oh yeah, it's such a funny story. You wake up with one brother and then the next brother is there the next day. Unfortunately, because there was so much story going on with so much of us, poor Roger got cut off. I had to text him and go, dude, I'm so sorry. We love
You
you.
didn't make the
It
cut.
has nothing to do with them cutting you out.
Oh, that's sad. Anybody
Yes,
else?
we're kind of up for him, but
I think maybe for us, one of those moments was with Aurora and the chemistry and everything that was happening at that moment. A lot of that you guys didn't get to see, and it was really a beautiful moment that happened. And I really wish you guys would have been able to see and capture just the beauty of who she is, her personality, even more than what you guys had already was able to see.
Oh, I wish we'd have seen it too.
Yeah. For me, mine was watching Pat meet his dad for the first time.
Oh gosh.
I know. Oh my gosh. Imagine being me.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was intense. But since the first photo that we ever saw, day one from Katie, the one thing I always pointed out were the hands. I was like, Pat, look at his hands. They all the men in the family have this like little league baseball hand. Always look like they're about to catch something. Like and there's sorry. There's like the way that they hold their hand. And everybody, so I was like, look at the hand, look at the hand, look at the hand. I kid you not, you guys. At one point, as they're walking towards each other, I look down at their hands. And both of them are walking towards each other in silence with this Cheshire cat grin. Both of them put their hands together like this.
Oh.
Like at the exact same time, I'm like,
wow.
Look at their hands! Like internally, I'm screaming, like, look at their hands, look at their hands.
Oh,
I couldn't
wow.
believe it. But yeah, they both, when they're thinking, they both go like this.
Wow.
So that was the one thing. And I even said in my interview, I made it like pretty much verbatim what I just told you guys about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
wow.
I would have shown that. Because
that's amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. I wish you had shown that too. Team Blue, what about for y'all?
Oh, he had walked away. A moment that you had with the family that you wish would have been shown.
Oh.
Yeah.
I wish they would have shown after the whole, my sister's walking in and then my mom. And, after that, now
I don't know if you can show us anymore. We were already all over the floor ourselves.
After all those died down, after like 3-4 hours, once the camera left, like it was just we all just sat around the table and we was just eating pizza till like 5 in the morning. Like we were just talking, just trying to fill ourselves with as much life that we missed from them as possible. And that right there, even I feel like the cameras probably would have been more detrimental than anything really if they would have been there. Because once the cameras left, everybody opened up more. Right. We just sat there and just talk. And my mom opened up about what happened when we were kids. And she really put herself out there because she went more in depth about what happened and why everything happened the way it did and how bad her drug abuse had gotten. She was like, I knew at that. She said she knew at the point she knew we were sleeping in abandoned homes and like half-built houses. She's like, I knew something was wrong then. And she was like, I had to get away from y'all. That was her word. She was like, I had to get away from y'all because she said, I knew you were in a terrible predicament where we were living was just insane. Like it was
that was a night.
Yeah. She's an awful person, a great mother, and she really put herself out there. She told me stuff that I don't even know if I would have told my kids. Like she went through a lot.
She knew you needed to know. You needed to have that story so that you could move forward. And so I'm glad that she did. I'm glad that you had that time where you could get your full story and be able to. But I have to tell you that getting together, meeting your sister again was the most one of the most emotional things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Not only on Relative Race. I mean, you guys, all of your family connections were amazing, but there's something about looking for somebody that you remember all those years and having them, being able to walk up to them and see them, just and that whole emotional thing and the story of how you were wrapped around each other in the courtroom, and then you did the same thing when you were all together just on the floor, around each other. Just was, oh, that was so emotional.
That was I think I was really emotional. That was a really big day. Because that was his whole point of coming on the show.
Oh, the whole point. Yeah.
Was hoping that they find his sister. I mean, if they didn't, oh well, but they did, great, but they did. And I think I was just crying my eyes out because I had heard her name so much for so many years. I know the story, I know the backstory. Everybody's been looking, for her or whatever. And so when she introduced herself, I mean, I just saw everything just melt. Like,
oh
it
yeah,
it was a day. So very, very thankful for that moment.
I've been talking about that thing with her for years, and the whole time we've been together, even before we were just dating, I was telling anybody that was listening. I want to say she's like this tall, but it was. I couldn't remember her face and all that, but when she said her name, though, that right there.
Oh yeah.
Okay, wait, so that was something we were wondering because we weren't sure whether you recognized her face or was it when she said her name that you were like, okay.
It was her name. Once she said her name, I was like, what? I didn't know. And what they didn't show was the part that they cut it because the whole us hugging and all that was the second part. Because when we first initially met, we had to redo that whole meeting because right when she said her name, I picked her up and I almost took off running.
They were on the ground.
Like, rolling around. I was like, what? Scooped her up immediately. I got her in the air.
The producers are going, whoa, 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 whoa.
Corey was like, stop.
Put the lady down. Yeah, but for all of you, I mean, for us watching, like Tranisha or Lizzie or whoever, when we saw how much it meant to you to watch your partner meet someone, that also was very, very touching for us. So we appreciate all of that.
Yeah. It's amazing. Such good support. All of you supported each other so well. And some of you had an anniversary on the show.
Right.
How fun is that you actually got to celebrate your 1-year anniversary on the show?
And it just happened to be that I actually think I didn't even realize it until it was 2 weeks before we were going to leave. And I texted our producer and I said, hey, I just realized we're actually going to, if we make it that far, because that was day 8. So there's always that possibility. And I said, on this day will be our first wedding anniversary. And so, just thought I'd let you guys know. I didn't know if they'd do anything or if it would matter, but it is a show for family.
Their wheels were turned and they thought, ooh, this is going to make a good episode.
I guess my sister Stephanie actually, they just happened to mention it to her and she's like, oh, I've got to do something about this because it's not fair that they're going to be just driving around on their anniversary.
Well, and her and her husband, Jason, they had been married for 17 years. And she said, I remember how hard that first year of marriage is. And it's something to celebrate and it's something to really mark. And so she, took the idea and ran with it. She knew exactly what she wanted to do. Unfortunately, it was incredibly cold. We're from Florida. It was cold for us, but it was cold for them too. They were like, it's freezing. We ended up having to wrap the picnic up early, but she made us a really cool piece of art to commemorate our wedding. And it was just a really special day. I love taking pictures and we don't have, it wasn't like a day that obviously didn't post on Facebook, hey, it's our first anniversary. So it is neat that we get it on, a TV show. So
You did it in style.
Exactly. How did y'all feel about the way they did? I'm sorry, Jenny. Let me ask this question and you can go next. Okay. How did y'all feel about the way they did the benefits this year? It was totally different versus other years where you just got. I did too. At first, we're like, "Ooh, how's this going to work?" But personally, I thought it worked out really well. But I just was curious as to how y'all felt about it.
Oh, Mystery Prize was awesome.
Yes.
Knowing
I think we all really enjoyed the mystery prizes.
Yeah. Knowing all of us, though, we would have had a really hard time penalizing if we, previously you had to pick another team to penalize and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but even the ones that were marked as penalty were the last ones chosen. We only chose them when we absolutely had to.
Right. I really like the way they did it because it didn't feel like people were aiming at other people. It just was the luck of the draw, what it meant. Right. And then, you just went forward from that. Mitchell, were you going to say something? It looked like you were there.
To say that I like the way in the beginning, I thought it was going to be kind of weird, but once I started playing more, I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. And just like Lizzie said, the penalties, we talked about it like once we were off camera and all, we really don't want to penalize it. So let's just skip over those and pick something else.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
You didn't really know exactly what you were choosing anyway.
Right. Right. So you couldn't do something against another team because you had no idea what it meant.
You know what it was. I think a couple.
You're just hoping it was something good for you. Because it could have gone the other way on you. You just never know.
All I know is the one thing that we learned from it is that Tranisha and Mitch can definitely divers because the amount of time they can hold their breath for.
And we really enjoyed the skip to the loo.
And we're sorry as fans. We didn't know we voted for that because we were saying, what did we vote for? The fans voted. What did we do any good? What did we do? And it's like, okay, well, it could have been worse. It was just skipping. So
that's true. I had skipped them forever, so I was like, shoot, I'm down.
Jenny, what was your question?
I just wanted to get Taquita's perspective, as a friend. I mean, what was the journey like for you, to be there and witness, Giselle's journey?
The journey for me was amazing. It really was, to be there as a friend. And we always say to ourselves that we are a good friend, and I think it teaches you more values of being a friend and what it really means to be there for somebody in their darkest moments and try to help them through and to feel better. So to me, it was an amazing experience because I learned a lot as well. And again, I also had the chance to be there for her during her journey.
Yeah, you were instrumental in helping her get through several of those days. And so hard days. So I know she was grateful that she had you there. We were all grateful that she had you there because we couldn't get through the TV screen and give her the hugs that she needs. So that's what it felt like. We all needed to go through that TV screen and help to hold her up. So
I think Mary had a question.
Oh, Mary, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I don't want to ask it. So Kelly, can you read the chat and see if you're the answer? If not, I don't want to bring it up. So
what
the chat.
Do you have a question that you don't know if she would like to answer or not? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yeah.
Sure. What about what?
Oh.
Don't be afraid. Oh, girl, I'm the most blunt person ever.
Go ahead. I think she's okay. She kind of started talking about it. I think she's okay with that.
Say no if you can't, but just have you had a chance to meet any of the family that didn't want to come on the show?
Yes.
And how did that go?
Wonderfully. So I on my paternal side, no new developments there. The maternal side, on Mother's Day, actually, me, my husband, our boys, this monster right here. Who should be in bed? Me. Me, he says me.
Me. You're so cute.
We drove up to Oshkosh and I met my Aunt Lisa and Uncle Todd and my first cousin Hunter and my grandmother Phyllis.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes. So then I was actually performing at a dinner theater not far from our hometown this past summer called the Fireside, and they came down and everybody got to come and see me perform for the first time. I also met my great aunt Patty, who is awesome. She came to see the show as well. She's super fun. But yeah, there was something about, and of course I had to treat Gloria and Richard to a show for sure because of everything that Gloria
Yes.
should have Gloria on the show. She should work for a relative race. She is just all the business.
Yeah.
All the tea.
Yes.
But
Yes.
so much information. You guys, what you do, it's God's work. I'm telling you what. But yes.
Is she the one that found your Mayflower? You told me that you
found everything.
Yes.
In fact, I found out I'm a Mayflower pilgrim.
How about that?
Yes, I'm related to 2 U.S. presidents and Salem witch trial survivor and all the people. So we're mentioned in a good or a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving.
Oh,
like crazy!
Wow.
Oh, I know, it's insane.
Wow.
So I flew out to Boston in the fall, and a childhood friend of mine, she lives out in New Hampshire, so we went on my pilgrimage, and I went to visit all of these.
Your pilgrimage, I love that.
pilgrimage for my 40th. So yeah, it's been really neat finding out and getting even deeper and finding out of this really rich heritage. It's been
fabulous. We're so glad.
Yes,
great.
yeah. I have had the opportunity to know. Oh, and funny enough, paternal side, I take that back. I have not met, but have spoken with several times my paternal step siblings, if you will.
Great.
Yeah, he remarried. He did eventually marry, and there's a stepdaughter and then 2 stepsons, but they're like, she's 39 and just retired from the military, and both of the guys are in their 30s. But anyway, we have a wonderful relationship.
That's wonderful. I'm so glad. So see, Mary, that was a great question to ask. That was beautiful.
Question to ask, but no news.
How about everybody else? Have you met other people as a result that we didn't get to see on the show? Who else have you met or been able to contact with because of the show? Anybody?
For me, go ahead. I'm sorry, Andy. For me, I was able to meet my mother's brother. And actually have a conversation with him. He didn't want to be on film, so he chose not to participate. But we have scheduled to meet each other in person, so I'm super excited about what that will bring. Yeah.
Good. Andy, you were going to mention somebody?
Oh, it was interesting because actually the producers, I think it was the second to last day, came up and said, "Oh, we just heard from your uncle on your mother's side. I know we told you that nobody on your mother's side was interested in art, but they just reached out to us and they wanted to see if they could come down and meet you, but unfortunately there's no way to make it work, but here's the information." So I've been in contact with him and his daughters. So I've actually had a chance to meet some of my mother's side of the family.
That's such great news. Wonderful.
Then on my mother's side, I've met more of her siblings.
Oh, good.
And found out that her dad had 13 children. So.
Oh, wow. That's
lots of aunts and uncles.
Yeah. That's great.
Cousins, so yeah.
And Team Blue? Because I got to ask both of you, not just one of you, because you're both looking for family.
I've met, outside of who was shown on the show, I've met a lot more cousins. I've had more cousins. Like I said, I just met my aunt that I didn't get to meet the first day.
Yes.
Yeah, I just met her, a couple other cousins. And other than that, I haven't met anyone new. We're still making plans to go see more people, but we haven't met them yet. But there's plenty. So
I've been contacted.
Mitchell, you?
Both of the family members from. I got a lot of family in California and Florida. I have some family also that still live in Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah, they've been writing me on Facebook, and we've been talking back and forth with them, and I'm trying to get them to teach me.
Great. It's wonderful that the show just keeps on giving. We see you meet, your relatives for 9 days, and 9 days. Congratulations, you all made it through 9 days. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen very often. So we kept thinking about all the scenarios that maybe could get you all to day 10 to compete.
Whatever. They specifically came out. I don't even know if we can say it, but I'm saying it anyway.
Okay, say it anyway.
They came out like before one of our nightly calls. Dude popped in like, listen, we see what you're talking about in the group chat, and we will literally make a way. There's no way all four of y'all can go. It just doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
So when somebody goes home, we got to figure it out. But
it would have been
stop trying.
Yeah. So stop trying.
Hashtag colluders.
Yeah.
Colluding. But they ended up doing it because you were all together again on day 10, because once again, something different that they haven't ever done before is they brought you all together to watch each other meet your family. I'm like, really? You're going to start day 10 with a sobbing? Gosh, every day. Normally, day 10 is not a sobby day. Normally, day 10 is all about the challenge and who's going to win, and you get all excited about who's winning. But it's not a sobby day. It's not that deep, ugly cry. But they did it to us again by bringing it all together. That must have been amazing. Because you had the calls, you had the calls at the end, so you saw who everybody met, but you got to watch the video of that's so much different to actually see that video of everybody meeting their relatives. So Dan was sobbing, everybody was sobbing. How did that bond you even more together, seeing those?
I think literally I'm probably going to keep saying it, but I think just from day one, everything bonded us. Like, I think and I say that because from day one, or before when we first met, and then day one, we were bonded, and then we were missing each other the entire journey.
Yeah.
So because we were just talking the whole time, we were talking and sharing pictures, and just we were always wondering how everyone was doing and everything. So I think every new moment just made us miss each other more. And everything brought us closer together. Everything had us crying. Everything made us want to hug each other. And so I think, and I'm not even joking, so when we were able to come back, at least to see it finish out, we were more, we didn't get to see everyone than going home, so we were just, that was amazing. Everything brought us closer together.
That third strike was
everything.
It was real bitter.
Sure.
So we missed everyone.
It felt like the last day of summer camp when they told us.
Yeah.
It's like,
yes.
Rick and Tiny, they gave you guys an option, right? You guys got the third strike, but you thought you were going home, and then tell them how that happened.
Yeah, we got the third strike, and then we were kind of like, man, is this it? And I think what we kept asking, we was like, so do we just go home?
Are you done with it now?
So for a minute, and it wasn't even the first thing we didn't. And I kid you not, the first thing we said was, man, I really wish they would let us stay to at least watch and finish it out. And we were saying that,
We
to
kept
each
saying
other.
that over
So
and
we were
over
like,
again.
man, like, I don't want to just go home and then we don't see him no more. And so
Right.
then we were just sitting there. They give our phones back. We were just sitting there in the hotel room, and then they came back and was like, hey, we're gonna let you guys go, to day 10, and you're gonna get to watch them. And we were just like, yes, like I want to see them now. Like I want to go. And so they had us hidden in the back, and then we knew that we were gonna see them, but they didn't know.
We sat in the hotel room for like,
So yeah, they didn't know that we were gonna see them. And so they let us do another surprise. We
So
came in
wonderful.
and we were all together after a long journey. And we were
Yeah.
just, once again, tears, hugging.
In
just-
though, and I saw that there were 8 chairs. That's when I started looking around. I was like, every once in a while, I like look around, I'm like, they've got to be here. They've got to be here.
All I remember that was after watching the video, literally in the back of the van when we first met, Mitchell was telling me the story about his sister, and you could just see the emotions in him. Like, oh man, if I can just find her. I've spent my entire life looking and searching, just wanting to have her back in my life. And the moment we saw that video that they actually met, I don't know about any of the other teams, but I mean, I literally almost lost. And then when they came through the door, Mitchell literally like lifts me off the ground. I'm sitting there going, dude, your knee, stop.
They didn't really show it, but Mitchell and Andy had a bromance over the course of 2.5 weeks together. It was very nice. They bonded really nicely, and they really and I mean Tiny and I did too. Trinisha and I we became really close just through text. And so walking in and not having them there felt really incomplete for all of us. But I think especially for Andy and Mitchell, because they had bonded, and they bonded over the course of the show when we weren't together. So to have them get to come back together again was a really special moment, I think, specifically for them and their bromance, their blooming bromance.
Wow, we didn't know about the bromance, so that's breaking news. Breaking news on GenFriends. But you all have these unique relationships. I mean, Team Red, your prayers and your uplifting texts and videos to all the teams were inspiring for all of us. And then when Callie and Andy were talking about family not wanting to meet, you guys bonded with that. I mean, there's all these different little scenarios going on, and now you're telling us even more because we got the bromance going on, all those kind of things. So there were those connections that some of them that we saw, and some of them that we didn't see. And so it truly was a very, very special season for so many reasons, not only because there's so many different things that were going on, but everything that was underneath, everything that was supporting. It was so wonderful. We haven't even, did somebody have a question?
Mary
Mary,
did.
I did.
another one? Okay.
I did have another one. And so the one thing when I watch the show, I mean, it's like you're going to get up in the morning and you're going to have to leave. And I mean, this is like you found the pot of gold. How do you do that? I mean, how do you do that? Do you ever say, or how often are you tempted to say, no, that's okay, we'll just stay here?
Well, I know Callie can talk about. Pat definitely had.
Yes. So after day 5, we meet Lindsay, Pat's youngest sister, Lindsay. We were less than 20 minutes from our front doorstep. Front doorsteps. At that point in time, where that was just outside of Rockford, Illinois. So we had to drive through. So this is the day of my birthday. So we wake up that morning knowing that we have to drive through our hometown.
Yeah.
And Patrick was done. He had checked out, like long story short, to the point where our producer came to us and said, is Pat going to get off the interstate and drive home? It's like, is he going to quit? Like, and I was like, I gotta be honest with you, without like being dramatic, I'm not really sure. I'm not 100% sure. Pat definitely had like a moment where he said, I've met my sisters, and I've met who I need to meet, and I know that I'm gonna meet my dad. Like maybe it was a lot for him, like a lot for his journey. So I ended up having to drive on the only day. They took the keys from Pat. They took the power from Pat. They gave it to me as we drove through our hometown. Just to make sure that he didn't get off it, and had.
I can imagine how difficult.
Not that we don't trust you, but we don't trust you.
Yeah, exactly, like, pretty much. And he was like, "Are they taking the keys from me?" I'm like, "Yeah."
And we talk about that every season. How do you walk away from these people that you've been waiting to connect with all your lives?
I feel like it's like 3 layers of stress every single day.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me about it, Callie.
It's like every single day. It's like so by after
he's fine.
I feel like after the initial shock of the first couple of days, at that point you just know it's coming, and you have to get through these like different levels every single day. Yeah. Like it just the morning phase, and then the challenge phase, and then the relationships. It's
exactly.
It's yeah. So you just kind of do it. I don't know how to explain it. You just kind of do it.
Yeah. You just have to.
Yeah. I know Giselle that one day when they took you to the graveyard, I didn't realize everything you were going through.
Yes.
Like just the fact that you were able to keep it together and keep on going. I mean, that was amazing to me. This fortitude you had.
Yeah.
No. So much heart, and so because the next morning, we woke up and she was cooking like a huge breakfast. Like she cooked pretty much everything that can be cooked for breakfast. She cooked a huge breakfast. So she had so much, heart. And so even after that moment of going through what she went through, she still woke up in good spirits and was ready to go. Even though, you still want to climb back in bed and not go.
Yes.
You'll go on another day, but she had a lot of heart.
That's the rip.
But I was sharing with Taquita, like after the race, that it was her strength that I had to rely on after day 6. Because I was ready. I was ready to tell Mike, hey, I'm done. Deuces. I'm in New Orleans. I'll figure it out. We'll get Taquita back home. But it was her strength that I relied on, and her looking at me and saying, look, we got this. We can do this. And so I'm just, I'm grateful for the journey of having her there in the middle of all of that going on.
Yes.
Yeah, it was some of the conversation that we had before we even went on the race on what may happen and what we may be facing. When I say we, even though she went through it, we were going through it together, because I knew in the time that she needed me, I was going to have to pull my strength, in to help her. But literally that day she checked out. It was one of those days like, hey, I can just do away with the show. I don't want to go on anymore.
Hard.
It's tough.
Very, 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 very difficult. Well, we probably ought to talk about what happened on day 10. Boy, I don't know about you guys, but I wouldn't have been able to do any of those challenges. I don't like heights.
I could so sympathize with Giselle and Taquita, because I am so scared of heights. I can't even get on a step stool.
And I'm glad on day 10 that the things that they didn't show. Like I got stuck on, and everybody else that went on, I got stuck and was just in tears, crying, scared to get down. So it was like the guy had to literally come up and get me down,
That would be me.
Oh no, that would be me. I would have gotten stuck and not been able to move. I don't even think I would have gone up to begin with. I would have said, never mind, somebody else can have the money. I can't do this. Would have been way too much for me. Way too much.
We have to talk about the spider monkeys, the black team. Like they were, they were lit. So I mean,
I'm not really sure who those people are, to be completely honest with you. Like I don't heights, but I don't love heights either. And not once did I ever look down. Like I made a point never, ever, ever to look down.
Yeah.
That was hard, you guys. I couldn't after day 10, like we got home, I woke up day 11. Day 11. Actually a day on the race, just so you guys know. Would that have been great? They should have said we each should have gotten our own day 11. So everything happens the day after. And nothing else. I couldn't lift my arms up like over my shoulders, like past my shoulders. Like, it was awful. I mean, shaking. Do you guys remember how our arms felt?
I'll bet they hurt. Oh yeah.
Mitchell
said I was fine. I don't know what your problem was.
Yeah.
No, I was just worried about the water because Mitchell was the one to notice the sign for the water. I got soaking wet, pulling that case into our boat, like absolutely soaking to my underwear. Like
so cold.
Well, it wasn't just that though. Like the crew had to go out and buy me new clothes to wear because I was that wet. Like it was bad.
And it was about 38 degrees outside.
And windy.
It looked cold. Cold.
Mitchell had noticed a sign around this. It was a abandoned rock quarry that was full of water. And what did the sign say, Mitchell?
The sign literally says in like big old letters, "Do not come in contact with the water."
And no one read it.
No one read it. I was like, this says don't get in the water.
Oh no.
So the night of day 10, they all went out and celebrated. And I was like, dude, you guys, I have to take a bath. I'm genuinely concerned about what might be in my clothes and touching my skin.
Yeah.
I think we were so tired that day we couldn't even join y'all. I couldn't even.
Yeah, that's right.
After I took a shower, it was like I couldn't even make it. Couldn't do anything.
Yeah, my clothes smelled so bad. You guys, you have no idea. And I was honestly concerned, especially after seeing that sign. I was like, this is not good. Water. I
thought it was weird that you started glowing in the dark.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. But
yes, we were all exhausted on day. We were already exhausted from just the race itself. But we really gave it. I think that we all really gave it our all. We were just, and it was a long day. We were up at probably like 4, and we didn't know what. I think we got back to the hotel at maybe 10.
Goodness.
Yeah. So it was a long day of shooting and go, and
please God, don't let us freeze to death.
Yeah.
Right. But you each, I think you each found talents that you didn't know you had. I mean, who knew? You know, we had Robin Hood. We had all those different things that y'all didn't know you could do. You know, running that gauntlet, getting those the balls stuck up on the target, and I mean, there was a lot of stuff that I think. Yeah, that y'all.
By the way, I still apologize to anyone that I accidentally hit in the head, face, body, anywhere with the throat.
Yeah, look, I guess that was another hidden talent, being a human shield.
Exactly. And Andy, I felt so sorry for you when you grabbed the wrong arrow.
Yeah.
And Callie, who popped her own balloon.
I was wondering, I couldn't remember who that was.
Yeah, that was that happened.
That happened. But Callie, congratulations to Team Black for being season 12 winner. And you all played so well. You each deserved to win. So you talked to the end, Pat talked at the end about some of the monies going towards the foundation. So what has happened with that? Has anything been able to?
Yeah, so right now we're in like the process of clearing out like all of the buildings on the property. So we're not really getting to any of the fun stuff yet per se. It's just kind of still in that like developmental deconstruction
demo
phase. But so the money eventually will they're looking at like some really, really cool ideas. I don't know if I was supposed to say anything, but like thinking like camper RV-ish type of like situation, so they can pick up and want to, or like thinking like a campground that you can like actually you can have that like camp set. So if people can bring in, for example, if you have a family that already has, you know, an RV or like a van type of system, like then they can actually set up a at like sites and things like that. So it's like I'm not doing it justice at all right now, but like the planning process and like it sounds really, really cool, and I'm excited about it, and I think it's really going to benefit a lot of families. And I know that's
well, if there's a link where people can help, if it's got to the point of that, please share it with me, and we will share it with the Relatives family.
I absolutely will.
Yeah, I know there are people out there that will want to help out, that will want to do.
Yes, absolutely. I will make sure that I do that immediately once we're off of here.
Yeah, that will be great, and we will share it. Well, does anybody else have a question? We've kept you guys a really long time, and we really appreciate it. We just love all of you. We are so thrilled for the connections and the answers and those holes that you were able to fill on the race, and we appreciate you sharing that with us and making us cry for 10 for 10 weeks straight every time we watched. We appreciate all of you. Is anybody else on the panel or just any of you on the teams have a question or something else that you wanted us to know before we look at that sweetheart right there, Team Blue.
So cute. It was
Anybody else have anything else that they wanted to ask or say before we say goodbye?
Just thank you guys for being a part of our journey. And it's been fun.
Yes,
it's been fun to hear your perspective throughout the season. So thank you so much.
Even if we got confused and didn't get things right, sometimes we're like, wait a minute. Now who that one? Who did they meet? No, wait a minute. Wasn't that last week? You start getting all confused, you know? So, but we love the show, and we love the message that it gives, and we love the support that it gives to adoptive families. And so we are grateful that you shared your journey with us, and we hope you keep in touch with us, and we'd love to have any of you come back on the show. You know, season 13 is starting. If anybody wants to come in and say, hey, we want to talk to you guys about
season 13. Yeah, Thaddeus and I, we have a whole plan for you guys. Don't worry.
Yeah.
And season 13, it's gonna be like The View up in here, but us.
You all are welcome to come on and talk about the show with us, you know, and say, hey, I want to talk to you guys about whatever. Come on and just let us know. So thank you so much for being here with us, and I know that all the fans are going to be thrilled to see you all back together and hear that things are going well, and that you're doing well, because that's what we want to know. So thank you so much for being with us tonight. And I can't believe we've come to the end of another season of Relative Race. And now we don't know what to do on Sunday nights anymore until the next season starts. So with that, we will see you next time on GenFriends. Bye, everybody.
Bye, friends.
Bye.
Bye.